Okay. So let's pull in Gohan into the chat. Gohan, no pronouns. Gohan, are you there?
Yes.
How's it
Hello.
going?
Good. How about with y'all?
Seen better days.
Yeah, we're doing okay. So what I just got I literally sorry, I got distracted because I got a text and it just says I have annoying news. So I'm gonna put my phone on do not disturb. That's a good reminder because I don't want to know.
Nope.
Anyways, I'm sorry. Go ahead. What did you want to talk about today?
Well, I was also going to just say, no worries for y'all. Like every time I call in, I'm always nervous as well. So it's like, yeah, you guys are on edge kind of because like what's been going on in the world. I'm on edge because it's always a little nerve wracking to talk on the phone. So maybe we're not in the same spot, but at least I feel a little bit of what you guys are feeling.
Cool. So give it to us. What are you calling about today?
So I was calling to talk specifically about bodily autonomy. The way I view the argument of abortion, it can be broken down into two sections. One is about personhood, and the other is about bodily autonomy. I was going to skip the whole personhood debate and just focus on bodily autonomy.
Great.
All right. So one question I have, would you guys say that bodily autonomy is like an absolute right or absolute right?
I don't think it's an absolute right, meaning there's no exceptions to that rule. And the first thing that I thought of when you said that is usually when someone calls in and they want to talk about bodily autonomy and abortion and they're not in favor of abortion access, the next thing they say is sort of like related to the mask mandate. So it's like bodily autonomy is okay when you're going to kill a baby, but then when there's a mask mandate, then blah, blah, blah. So like that sort of thing. I think that there are exceptions to full bodily autonomy. I think that you should not be allowed to harm another independent living person.
Yeah, I think I would also add, I'm not sure that anything is typically absolute in law. Like there's usually exceptions because bodily autonomy is like a legal concept, right? Usually.
Yeah,
And
I'm not going based off of law. I'm going based off of like how y'all think it should be. I know like should, but I'm going more of like morals instead of legal.
Well, I don't really care personally about the morals of it because I think, quite frankly, like morality is kind of subjective. We're all going to come to different sort of calculations about the morality of any kind of act, including abortion. And so I really care about the like legal framework around the human rights way more than the morality. I actually like don't care about the morality conversation at all. If you think abortion is immoral, then I don't really care about that. You have a right to think things are immoral.
Yeah, I think that's fair to bring up. Like you kind of want to focus more on the legality of it because everyone has different opinions on morality, and it's really hard with the topic of abortion to stay in like one lane instead of jumping around because it's so easy to jump around to different topics. So if it kind of helps us to steer the ship a little bit better, then I'll switch more to legality, but with the understanding that whatever we try to base on, like whatever we try to say is legal, has a backdrop of morality on it. Do we agree with that or no? If not, I'll just skip it.
Kind of.
I mean, like,
yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Alyssa. I didn't mean to.
I don't know. I don't know if. I think they're kind of implied, but I don't know if I can say that 100%. I think, like, I don't know if that's really like a precedent that we have to confirm to have this conversation. Like, we can talk about bodily autonomy from like a legal perspective, meaning the bodily autonomy that we are entitled to have, um, in terms of like what we are legally allowed to have. I don't really know that like morality needs to really, I don't know. I don't know how to explain what I'm trying to say.
I think like legal
No
rights
worries.
and morality are they're not orthogonal, right? They're not like completely unrelated. Clearly, when we're
Yeah.
making laws and legislation, that's informed by some attempt to kind of police morality in some way. But I don't think it's fair to say that they're like completely overlapped or like one and the same or anything. That's kind of where I'd be coming from on that.
Okay. Okay, that's fair. Let's just jump ship with that then. I think we're fairly close with agreement on that anyway, so it doesn't matter too much. Let's talk about Alyssa. I think I'm sorry. You said there were limitations that you saw fit with bodily autonomy.
Yeah, like I think if you are like I don't have bodily autonomy to the degree that I can swing a punch at somebody else and say I'm just expressing my own bodily autonomy. You can't tell me what to do. That doesn't make any sense.
Okay.
Bodily autonomy doesn't apply there.
Okay. And Arden, I think I heard you say something very similar.
Yeah, I don't really think there's probably any like legal absolute with bodily autonomy. I'm sure there's some exceptions that we could think of if we really sat on it. But generally, when I'm talking about autonomy, I'm talking about like some sort of like extended, prolonged use of your body to some degree against your will. Like, I don't think like a vaccine requirement to go to school would count as bodily autonomy because you don't have to go to that school, right? There are other options there to avoid getting the shot. Like there's still freedom in that framework. And same with masks. Like if you don't want to wear a mask, you don't have to go outside. I don't know if I would say that that violates your autonomy in my eyes. But like if you were like, if your baby's already born and somebody's like, I'm hooking you up to a machine. Now for the next 6 months, your blood is going to be filtered through their body and that's how they're going to stay alive. That would definitely be violating your autonomy, right? Because after that, like you're not having a choice. You are being used as a tool for this other person.
Yeah, I agree with that. So I think that I'm ready to get more into the meat of the argument. I'd say that bodily autonomy gives you the right to not save somebody's life or not keep somebody alive, but bodily autonomy does not give you the right to kill another human
What if that
unless
baby is
there's
violating
high risk
my
of severe.
bodily autonomy because it depends on my body to be a viable life? So that
Yeah.
baby,
So yeah,
that fetus is violating my bodily autonomy.
sorry, I think I finished my sentence too early. I'm sorry. So you're not
Sorry, go
allowed to
ahead.
kill another human. No, it wasn't you. I just finished too early before I finished my thought. You're not allowed to kill another human unless there's high risk of severe harm. And even if it is like a 4-month-old baby who's violating your rights because they're violating your bodily autonomy because they poke their finger in your eye. I don't know. That definitely violates your bodily autonomy, but that doesn't give you the right to kill that human.
I wouldn't say poking your eye violates your bodily autonomy. It violates your personal space. It hurts, but it's
Yeah,
not
that's
like
bodily autonomy.
that's
That
not
is bodily autonomy.
that's not how I described bodily autonomy. So if that
Like
violates
it is.
your
Like
framework of
it.
bodily autonomy, then I guess that does, but that's not what I'm talking about when I'm talking about bodily autonomy.
So how
I
would
feel
that
like
not be
I
bodily
want
autonomy?
to get go ahead. I want to get to the point about how you're relating this to abortion because
Uh,
we've been on this call for like 9 minutes and I feel like I want to get to like the meat of what we're talking about
okay.
here instead of the hypotheticals about.
Yeah, I don't have too long with this call, so I agree with you. But that is pretty much the meat of it. You're not allowed to kill somebody based off your bodily autonomy unless there's high risk of severe harm. And abortion, pregnancy always brings a risk of harm, a very high risk of harm, but it's a very low risk of severe harm. So it doesn't qualify you to kill another human unless it does get
You
into
are
that threshold of this is severely dangerous. You have the right to use lethal force in self-defense. But if it's like the vast majority of pregnancies, it is not severely dangerous, and you don't have the right to use lethal force in self-defense.
So, what makes you qualified to determine whether another person's pregnancy is severely, what was the phrase you used? Severely harmful to a person.
Harmful.
And yes, what makes you the authority, and what makes governors and the government an authority in what is severely harmful? Because you're also talking about the psychological harm, the harm that having a baby does to a family or a person who is not ready for it, who
So
cannot afford it. Like there's a
it,
lot of degrees to severe harm, and at the root of it, and what really just drives me fucking crazy is we don't trust the decision making of women ever. There always has to be someone else involved to be able to make that decision. Why in the world would anyone else be able to decide what I get to do with my body? It's not your fucking business.
it's,
And
it's rule.
it's very often that the same people who are pro life, which I can't even pro forced birth, like I don't know. Pro life is like the dumbest phrase
Forced
I've
birth.
ever heard in my life. It's forced birth. If you are pro forced birth, you care so much about this baby until it's born. And then we don't want to give people universal health care. We don't want to give parents better daycare options or financial support. This is the same party that has that same behavior. So I don't buy for a fucking second that you care about this kid. I think that you want to intervene in the choices of women because you don't trust their decision making, which is unacceptable to me. So that's one part of it. The other part of it is 99% of the abortions that happen because of medical or health reasons. And they also happen well before that fetus could potentially live outside of its mother's body. So you want to talk about this thing causing severe harm or whatever, that fetus cannot exist without the mother. It depends fully on the mother. It's using her full bodily autonomy. So again, her choices don't matter, and you
Yeah.
don't care.
I specifically also, I remember last time I was talking to you, Gohan, you used a similar argument that was essentially like, if a father is holding his newborn infant, that's a violation of his bodily autonomy, and he should be able to just drop that baby on like the cold hard concrete. According to this argument, that's why I specifically defined bodily autonomy as like the prolonged use dependent upon your body, because holding the baby poking your eye, those things don't violate a prolonged dependent use on your body. You can put the baby down. You can pass the baby off. You can pull the baby's hand away from your eye. None of those things are violating your autonomy in any way.
So really quickly, I'll try respond to two things in there. There's a lot. One for Arden. I'm not sure, but I think this might be my first time speaking to you. I might have spoken to you before, like on the whole.
I might have produced the show. I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah. So I'll just try to respond to both really quick. But as far as like your definition of violating bodily autonomy, it has to be prolonged. I really don't think you believe that, because if like somebody violates a woman's bodily autonomy just for a second, does that make it okay? No, rape is still rape.
The prolonged use depending on their body. Depending on their body, right?
It doesn't matter how long you violate it. A violation of bodily autonomy. Fair
criticism. Fair criticism. Let's throw that out then. Throw out the time frame. It's the dependent upon your body part that I'm concerned about. Fair criticism. Throw it out. The dependent part, right? Still means that your concern, your criticism, doesn't cross my threshold of bodily autonomy. Poking your eye, being forced to hold the baby, doesn't violate your bodily autonomy. Anyway.
Because it's not dependent?
Correct.
Okay. So if a baby is dependent on you to hold them up, how does that not qualify for dependence?
Isn't dependent on your physical body to hold them up. You might have to prop them up, but you can also set a pillow behind them. You can also set anything behind them. Or you can be an evil person and let that baby fall and have their head crash against the pavement. That's not violating your bodily autonomy.
Gohan, I have a question about the bodily autonomy. Gohan, I have a question. So, and I've asked this of other callers who have this similar conversation with us, because after a while, we really get into the weeds of all of these really like insane things that have like, fair. Why are we talking about? So my question to you is, at what point does the bodily autonomy of a woman who has a life and a job and friends and a place to live, hopefully, like, at what point does her bodily autonomy not matter in favor of a fetus who could not survive without her body providing it life and a place to grow? At what point does the bodily autonomy shift, and now it's the woman's life doesn't matter anymore?
I think
and her choices don't matter.
This is a fair question. I think it gets into the response I was going to give to you. I said there was two responses I want to give. I gave Arden one, and now I want to give you one. One thing I was going to say was, as far as my rule of you can't kill a human unless there's high risk of severe harm, and you brought it back to a fetus. It's not just applied to a fetus; it's applied to all humans. So it doesn't matter if it's a 5-day-old or 5-year-old, a 50-year-old human.
But this is something that cannot survive. This is something that cannot survive. It's not fully developed.
Dependency. You're switching now use of lethal force to protect bodily autonomy, not based on lethal harm, but based on dependency of that human. Is that correct?
No one is aborting a baby that if you took it out of a woman's body at that time, it would survive without her. That's not
killing.
That's not real. That doesn't happen.
It's not just
so I'm not so the life dependency part is an essential part. Go ahead. The life dependency part of it is an implied essential part of this conversation, because abortions don't happen at a part of a pregnancy where that fetus doesn't rely on its mother's body any longer. That's not how this works.
Get into with that, but I'm going to say, like, if you want, we can go down thought experiments of which are very likely, where a 5-day-old human is completely dependent.
I don't want to go through a thought experiment of a 5-day-year-old human, because that's not realistic. What I'm talking, and that's not what this conversation is actually about. No, it's not. No, it's not, because an abortion, removing a pregnancy is not the same thing as killing a 5-year-old child. Go ahead, be so fucking for real. Really? So you think those are the same?
Last time I called into the show, I spoke to you and Promise, and Promise kind of had a similar response. But she eventually agreed to go with the thought experiment, but then she gave me another thought experiment. And I think it was more of like, does she have the right to, do I have the right to take blood from her if she causes an accident? I don't know if you remember that. If Promise ever listens, she could let me know if I'm wrong on this. Which
she has a few of those
arguments where she thinks of herself.
Yeah, I know the hypotheticals you're referring to. What about them?
So I think I have two questions based off of this, and then I probably have to go. But and I want to say thank you guys for being good conversationalists. But one thing is why, like, Promise was able to accept both hypotheticals and engage in both.
She was much more patient than I feel at this time, Gohan, because there's the problem that I'm having with this, and the problem with all of the hypotheticals in the world is I, for the life of me, cannot understand why you, Gohan, no pronouns, by the way, in Texas,
You got it.
gets to decide what all of the women everywhere else in the world do with their bodies. Do you believe, Gohan, in universal health care? You want to talk about you want to talk about hypothetical conversations and thought experiments. Do you believe that health care is something that all humans deserve to have regardless of the income they have?
You mean like a human right?
Is healthcare something that all
Hello?
humans are entitled to have regardless of if they can afford it or not? Quality
Hello?
healthcare
Can
for
you hear
every
me?
human being. Yes.
Hello? Can you guys hear
Hello.
me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes.
Can you hear us?
He dropped.
Oh,
I I have I really had no patience for that today because
yeah.
it's just like unfucking believable. It's the same the actual cognitive dissonance between being a person who's don't pretend for a fucking second that this is about children. Don't pretend for as we have mothers being ripped away from their children and these children are crying because they don't know when they're going to see their parent ever again. They have no idea
Yeah.
where they're going, how they're going to get in touch with them. You in that circumstance, we don't care because we don't know what their immigration status is. When in reality, I actually would like to know that if someone came up to me who was born and raised in this country, my parents were born and raised in this country, and they asked me, sorry, this is like a different little rant, but this has been on my mind all day. If someone came up to me and asked me for my papers to show that I'm a legal citizen, I don't know what the fuck I would need to show them. I don't know what are you asking me for? Literally, what are you asking me for?
Yeah.
I wouldn't know. You want my driver's license? That's like literally all I have. I don't know. So, but this is the same party that's telling me that they care so much about these children. No, you don't. No, you don't. You care about controlling other people's choices. You don't think that women are responsible enough to make their own decisions, even though women are told their entire lives, boys will be boys, girls are more mature, and girls, you just have to suck it up. Don't worry about it. He just has a crush on you. They're more mature. They mature faster and earlier than boys. Then all of a sudden, we get to be adults and we can't make fucking decisions anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Then we can't be presidents, we can't be CEOs, we can't be in leadership roles. But I thought we were the ones who were really mature our entire lives. Okay. And then we also are the people who have the responsibility in a traditional whatever nuclear family to raise an entire generation of people. Because that's what moms do. And we also are primarily viewed as the people who are like teachers when kids are young. So don't feed me the line of bullshit that I've been hearing my entire fucking life. I'm up to here with it. And Gohan can fucking sit and spin because I'm done. I'm done. And he caught me on a bad day. And I have no patience for it.
It's great. I think I don't believe for a second that he or anyone thinks that being forced to hold your child is violating your bodily autonomy. I think that is a complete joke. And honestly, it's a little bit offensive, I think, to our intellect. Not that we're just like the smartest people in the world. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, like, even if I am sub average IQ, it's offensive to my intellect that you would think that I could buy that. That's so obviously stupid. And also on your note about like, oh, you don't really think of these fetuses that way. One of my favorite hypotheticals that really gets at this is like, imagine you are in a burning building, house is on fire. There's 2 rooms. You can only save what's in one room, right? In one room, there is a living baby 6 months old. In the other room, there is 10,000 fertilized embryos. Which one do you pick? If you have any kind of fucking conscience, it's really obvious. You pick the living baby, right? You don't actually value fertilized embryos the same way you do actual human existing life. Even if we said like 2 months developed embryos, I think most people would still pick the actual fucking human child. It's yeah, really embarrassing.
It's the minute that it's a grown woman. And then we don't care anymore.
Yep.
And then suddenly it's her fault and she shouldn't have had sex and she shouldn't have gotten pregnant. And I'm like, I'm just I can't engage in that conversation in any, because the people who had that conversation with us are so fucking dishonest.
Mhm.
And I just like, you don't, you are also, to call a show and be speaking to women about it, like, just just tell me you hate me to my face. Like, just say to like, just tell me to fuck off if that's what you want to do. Like, just tell us you fucking hate us, because that's kind of what you're doing, and that you literally don't care if we live or die. You
Totally.
literally don't.
I have more respect for I felt this way about, like, Christians my whole life too, although now I feel like I have more of a longing for progressive Christians because times are dire, but, like, where I have more respect for people who are more honest about their beliefs, even if it's truly awful, than if they're, like, going to try to bury the lead, like, yeah, I you see, like, on, like, dating shows and stuff, like, a bunch of clips have gone viral recently of, like, these men who will, like, go on this dating show and they'll, like, keep their politics hidden most of the time, and then when it finally comes out at the end, they have to admit that they're, like, a fucking
Yeah.
misogynist, and then people are like, "Oh, okay, well, I'm done," and then it's like everyone's like, "Oh my god, you're being so dramatic," and it's like, "Yeah, no, just fucking own what you believe." Like,
Just own what you believe. And like, I always think it's so funny that, like, people who are, um who vote, specifically people who voted for Trump, I think, like, it's a different thing for people who, like, historically were Republican, which is still, in my opinion, not great, but I can understand. But people who have voted for Trump and then are publicly not political, or are like, I don't really like to bring politics into the conversation. Again,
politics in the conversation.
right. Tell me you hate me to my face. Like, just tell me to fuck off. Like, tell me you literally don't care if I live or die, because that's what you're doing. And I don't know any person who is, like, liberal in any sense, like someone who didn't vote for Trump or, like, is against Trump. I don't know anyone who wouldn't share that.
Yeah.
It's only people who voted for him who are, like, ashamed, and they fucking should be.
Yeah. I Man, I had kind of the worst listen, I think it's good to maintain relationships with these people if you are have the mental capacity to, because, that's how we're gonna get them out of being radicalized,
Yeah.
towards, like, the awful shit they're into, but I think my worst crash out was with a family member who, in defending all this stuff, was telling me how much they love me, and I was like, "Honestly, don't ever fucking say that to me again." Because it is so offensive to me that you are willing to advocate for a world that is
Mhm.
demonstrably worse for me, that makes my life
Mhm.
significantly harder and more stressful and more work for me, and then to turn around and say, "You love me." Those 2 things are in
Yeah.
conflict. They cannot overlap
Yes.
in my book. That is not love. If you think that's love, I genuinely have so much pity for you, and, that was definitely the worst crash that I ever had on a family member, and I low-key feel a little bit bad about it, like, once a week, but I'm like, and then I think about it, and I'm like, "No, I was totally right."
You were
Um,
so right. You're absolutely right. And as part of that too, like, for the people who were very, like, very sure that Project 2025 was not, that's not, he didn't write that. That's not what he's trying to do. Don't
mhm,
worry. I'm not voting against you, because I'm not voting for Project 2025. I'm voting for Donald Trump for some fucking reason. And now here we are, and we are 5 months into his presidency, and we've seen him checking off all of these fucking things on the list of Project 2025. Again, fuck you. Fuck you. You didn't want to listen to the people who for years told you that this is what he was going to do. This
yep,
we said it. We said it. And none of us wanted to be right. None of us wanted to be right. I would have so much rather, like, eaten shit and been wrong for the rest of my life, and been like, okay, maybe we were a little alarmist. It was a lot. Like, we could have taken a lap, like, taken a Xanax, had a glass of wine. We got really, no. But that's not what happened. Instead, we have a fucking police state and a government that actively hates everyone who is not rich white men. Arden.
Yeah. No, I was also doing production stuff on the side here. I'm not gonna lie though.
I'm just like having a little mental breakdown about it all.
No,
My little emotional support cow.
not that I want you to be in distress, but I will say you did give me the best thumbnail options in this clip that I think I've ever gotten from you. You're
Really?
Oh yeah. You give me some good ones. Some people in the cast don't really like give a lot of facial reactions while they're talking, and so I don't have a lot of material. You've given me some good ones, but those were the best. You were so twisted, like so heated throughout that whole thing. It was great. I loved it. It was awesome.
Because he immediately pissed me off. I'm glad we took that call first, because that brought me right back. This cow, by the way, it has like little things in it. Like it's called warmies, and you put it in the mic. It's like a heating pad. So you put it in the microwave and it has like little beads in it.
Yep.
And it smells like lavender, and I'm inhaling the scent of lavender for my fucking life right now, bro. Because like I
fuck with lavender so hard. It is my favorite.
Me too. I'm trying to get it to calm me the fuck down.
Wow, that was a great clip we just watched. Hey, Eve, what should the people do now?
Leave a comment, click like, subscribe, patreon.com/ does that say call the line?
Yeah. But if you could have made, we could just make it a little more natural. On the next clip, the outro will be much better.